Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. This video, as you guys can see, is going to be a little long, so watch whatever you can watch. Watch the rest later. However it is you want to break this video up. But anyhow, welcome to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. If you don't know already, Sioux Falls is located in the southeast region of South Dakota. It is the largest city in the state. And on this video, you guys are gonna see, let me get my notes here. On this video, you guys are gonna see the north side of the city, along with a few, I'll just say, lower price neighborhoods. Not necessarily cheap, but lower price for the city. And you're gonna also see some more downtown footage as well. So let's go. So yeah, Sioux Falls has got a population of 202,078 people, and the population here has grown by a whopping 25.1% as of the 2020 census, and an additional 5% growth just this year in 2022. Now, one good thing about Sioux Falls is if you're in Sioux Falls, you can gain access to Interstate 29 as well as Interstate 90 fairly easy and quick. In fact, if you're coming from the other side of the state and you take 90, you can end up here in Sioux Falls. If you're here in Sioux Falls and you want to head out to western South Dakota, where all the fun is at, where a lot of your tourism takes place at, where you can look at a lot of nice, beautiful, rugged mountains. All you gotta do is take 90, drive like 4 hours, give or take, and you'll be on the west side of the state of South Dakota. You take Interstate 29, which basically goes north and south. I mean, from here, within a few hours, you can be up in North Dakota. You go south, you'll be in the state of Iowa. So, anyhow, Sioux Falls, 30% of South Dakota's population is right here in Sioux Falls. Now, Sioux Falls has been a growing city since the 1890 census. The median home price here is, the median home price is $309,000. Now, the cheapest house is currently for sale is going to be priced at $110,000, and there are a few houses that are going to be for sale in that price range. There's a fair amount of houses that will be for sale right now as I speak for well below the median home price. So I would say for the Midwest, housing prices here definitely are not going to be the cheapest. It's definitely not going to be as cheap as, let's say, Indiana or many parts of Ohio. But it is what it is. And when it comes to violent crime is fairly low. You only got 12% above national average for violent crime. Property crime is also low. It's only at 25% above national average, which are very impressive numbers for a city of this size. I would say for many of your cities this size here in the state of Alabama, where I currently reside, you can take those numbers and multiply them by 10, and that's going to be about what you'll get for many of your cities this size here in Alabama. Maybe I'm over exaggerating a tad, but not by much. So I would say in some regard, you get what you pay for here. I mean, I've been told by some of the locals here that they do got some decent paying jobs here, and crime here is low. I spent a fair amount of time here. I talked to a few people. Nobody cared to be on camera, so I had no choice but to respect their wishes. Now, as far as it goes for the homeless population here, I will say, like many other cities, Sioux Falls does have a homeless problem. I mean, it's not going to be as bad as other places in the country, but they do have a homeless issue here. And there are a lot of people who are living in Sioux Falls that just like in many other cities, you do got a fair amount of people here that are struggling financially. I mean, there's a lot of people that are living with relatives, they're living with friends, they're living in their vehicles, because a lot of people here are unable to afford rent. Now, median rent prices, supposedly, according to my data, is $750 to $1,720 a month. Now, however, a lot of people report to me that here in Sioux Falls, on the low end, your rent prices are going to start at more like $1,000 a month. So there's definitely an issue here when it comes to housing affordability here, like there is in many other cities. Now, your racial demographics are going to be 82.2% white, 5.3% black, 2.3% Asian, 2.4% Native American, and 5% Hispanic. Now, I have talked extensively about the climate on many of my videos here about North and South Dakota. Now, the climate here in the eastern region of South Dakota, I mean, it's going to be a little more humid compared to the western side and compared to the western region of South Dakota. But even here in the eastern region, the humidity here is going to still be significantly lower than in states further east. But the climate here, on average, you can expect 27 inches of rain, 38 inches of snow. Oh, and this is per year, by the way. 211 days of sunlight. And your January lows are going to be 6 degrees on average. Now, temperatures up here will get way below that. Temperatures up here have been known to get into the negatives. And I'm talking negative 30 and negative 40 with the wind chill of negative 70 to negative 80 during the winter. So, although they say on average the lows are 6, be prepared for temperatures much lower than that if you're going to move up here. Now, your summer highs during July are going to be 84. And I would say that number is a lot more accurate than the 6 degrees in January is. But even with the 84 degrees in July, there's going to be times of the year where you can, temperatures up here will get in the mid 90s and even get into the hundreds. In fact, when I first came here to Sioux Falls, on the day that I came here, I mean, I believe when I first got here, the temperature was in the mid 90s. Or maybe it could have been the second day, I'm not sure. But in any regard, summers up here, for the most part, are some of the best summers that you will experience, in my opinion. Now, unfortunately, summers up here are relatively short-lived. Winters, on the other hand, are long. Like, I would say winter weather up here is going to last anywhere from 7 to 8 months. Maybe closer to 7. And And another thing about Sioux Falls is, now for some of you that may not know a lot about Sioux Falls, now granted, Sioux Falls may not be a Chicago. Sioux Falls is not going to be a Las Vegas in terms of entertainment. However, don't sleep on this city now. I mean, Sioux Falls does got some stuff going on. And I'm talking in a good way. So Sioux Falls is not one of these hole-in-the-wall, super sleepy icebox cities. Now, some of you may disagree, and you may say Sioux Falls is incredibly boring because maybe where you came from, you may have came from New York or something. And to you, and to people that may have came from New York, or maybe you moved up here from Seattle. So if you came from any of those areas, Sioux Falls to you folks might be on the boring and dull side. But in general, Sioux Falls does have a few things to offer when it comes to entertainment. I mean, so anyhow, let's go. Now, before I talk about entertainment, let's discuss employment briefly. Now, I've been told by the locals here that that Sioux Falls does have a fairly solid economy. And just off of what I see, it appears that they do. Now, some of your largest employers here in Sioux Falls is going to be Sanford Health, Avera, Avera Health, Hy-Vee, which is a factory. There's a factory. I think that's a factory. Smithfield Foods, which is the food processing plant. Wells Fargo and Citigroup. Now, there are a lot more employment opportunities here in Sioux Falls than the ones I named. I mean, this is one of those cities where basically, if you're looking for work, you'll find work. And it shouldn't take you long to find work here in Sioux Falls because the economy here does appear to be relatively strong. Now, as far as things to do, here's some city events. Now, some of the events that the city will hold is you got the downtown Sioux Falls Sculpture Walk, which is which is held in the summer in the downtown area here. You got the Downtown River Fest, which is held yearly here. You got the Party in the Park, which is an annual event held at Terrence Park. You got the Sioux Falls Empire Fair, which is held at the W.H. Lyon Fairgrounds. You also got the Sioux Falls Jazz Fest, which is held at the Yankton Trail Park every year. I think I pronounced that correctly. Yankton. I think I did. I'm guessing. I don't know. Now, if you're into arts, now many of your larger cities are going to have some type of an art venue. Sioux Falls is no different. Now, a lot of the art here is Native American. Now, Sioux Falls has a Empire Art Council that leads the Sioux Falls art scene. Sioux Falls has the Sioux Falls Sculpture Walk, featuring over 55 sculptures. Northern Plains Indian Art Market, or other words known as an NPIAM, was established here in Sioux Falls in 1988 by the American Indian Service Incorporation of Sioux Falls as of the Northern Plains Tribal Art Show, or the NPTA. Now, Sioux Falls also has a Jazz and Blues Festival, which is a 3-day outdoor event that is free to the public, that is held during the third weekend in July at the Yankton Trail Park. I think I may have mentioned that before, but just in case I didn't, I just did again. You also got the Levitt, that's Levitt, at the Falls nonprofit organization that provides 53 concerts each year. How nice of them. Now, as far as it goes for sports, there is a sports venue here in Sioux Falls as well. Now, you got the Sioux Falls Sky Force basketball team. Their NBA. You got the Sioux Falls Thunder FC, which is a men's soccer team here, and they compete in the National Premier Soccer League. You got the Sioux Falls Stampede, which is a USHL hockey team, ice hockey. I mean, there's not as many people in this country that appear to be into hockey as other sports, such as basketball and football. But it seems to me this is the perfect place to live if you're into hockey, given the type of climate that they have up here during the winter. You also got the Sioux Falls Canneries, which they're independent. They're an independent professional basketball team. You also got the Sioux Falls Storm, which is an indoor football team. They play indoor football. And if you're wanting to if you're wanting to increase your education, if you got teenagers that you're wanting to send off to college and you're looking for a good college atmosphere, perhaps you're looking for a place in the country where you feel your son or your daughter can go to school and they can stay focused on their academics and stay off the streets, stay out of trouble. Although nowhere you go is going to ever be perfect, and although the end results of how a student does in school is going to depend on the student, I think Sioux Falls is a good place to send your child to school, in my humble opinion. Just due to the fact that, for the most part, it's a clean city, it's low crime, and in fact, if you wanted to, you could even stay up here during the summer and get you a summertime job if you wanted to. I mean, summer times up here are perfect. But anyhow, you got the Augustana, I think that's how you pronounce it, Augustana University. You also got the University of South Dakota, the National American University, South Dakota School for the Deaf. You got South Dakota Public Universities and Research Center as well. And of course, there's a lot of smaller communities, smaller cities that are not too far from here where you can send your teenage son or daughter to school as well. If you can't find what you're looking for academically here in Sioux Falls. Now, as far as the people are concerned, I mean, there are a couple of, I guess, famous people that are from here. Now, the first person, I mean, he is, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his last name. We're just going to call him James A. James A. was the first Arab American to serve as senator in South Dakota, and he also practiced law in South Dakota. So he served as senator for South Dakota and practiced law in South Dakota. That's what I meant to say. And you also got Nick Dinsmore, a former WWE wrestler. And you also got a lot of other people that have had their hand either in politics or they grew up to be professional athletes that are from Sioux Falls. And there were way too many of them for me to name. I probably could have done a whole video just naming those people, but I'm not trying to bore you guys with that kind of information. But just understand that there's a lot of successful, upstanding people that grew up here in Sioux Falls that moved on and done big things in their life. And as far as more things to do, you got Falls Park. I mean, Sioux Falls does have a fair amount of outdoor activities that keep you occupied, both during the summer and if you can brave the cold, there's plenty to do during the winter up here too. You got Falls Park, you got Sioux Falls Bike Trail, which is a 25-mile trail that circles around the city. You got the St. Joseph Cathedral, which is one of the largest in the Midwest. You got the Great Plains Zoo and Dell Bridge Museum of Natural History. You got the Pettigrew Home and Museum. You got the Butterfly House and Aquarium. The Old Courthouse and the Old Courthouse Museum. The USS South Dakota Battleship Memorial. You got the Good Earth State Park, the Blood Run Nature Area. Rain Brewing, and you also got Ferguson Brewing. So you got your choice of brewing companies that you can go to if you're wanting to get you some fresh beer. And you also got the Thunder Road Amusement Park, as well as a Wild Water West, which is a water park. You got the Earth Resource Observation and Science Center, for those of you that are into that kind of stuff. And if you want to shop and waste a little bit of time and a shitload of money, you got the Empire Mall. You got the East Bank Art Gallery as well, for all you art folks out there. You also got the Sky Zone Trampoline Park. Now, there's a lot more entertainment here in Sioux Falls than the list that I just named off. Again, but it took me too long to name all the other stuff off that's here in Sioux Falls to do. I'll just leave some of that to your imagination. Now, I got one more request for you people. Now, if any of you who watch my channel, even some of you that are new to my channel, if you guys rather have me spend a little bit more time going to some of these venues that I name off in terms of things to do, as opposed to driving around, well, how do I word it? like for those of you that prefer for me to maybe drive around a little less and make more videos to where I go to some of these places that I name off, drop a comment below and let me know. Because again, this channel is for you guys. I make this channel for you guys. So without you guys, I wouldn't be able to have a channel. So if any of you would prefer for me to maybe make videos of some of the places that I actually go and maybe spend a little bit less time driving around, drop a comment below. And as I typically do, I'm going to give you guys my 2 cents about what I think about this city. I would say for the most part, I think this would be a wonderful place for somebody to call home. I mean, yes, the winters here do get a bit cold. I get it. I got it. And but I would say all in all, this is a, I would call this city a solid city to live and a call home. I mean, in my opinion, there's plenty to do. The summer times here are beautiful. The air up here seems to be nice and fresh. I mean, for some of you that might sound stupid, but for me that's important. I would say for me, the only true complaint that I got about Sioux Falls is the fact that the housing prices up here are so expensive. I mean, I wish the houses up here were a little cheaper, but it is what it is. I mean, anywhere you go anymore, housing prices are going to be way more than what they should be. So I guess it is what it is in that regard. But I would say for the most part, I mean, and yes, I do realize that this city does have issues. It's not perfect. I get it. I got it. I realize it. But I would say for the most part, just off of, you can say, first impressions, I would say this city would be a good place for people to move to and live if you're looking to move to South Dakota. I mean, me personally, if I had the choice between Sioux Falls and, let's say, Fargo, North Dakota, I mean, hands down, no questions asked, I would pick Sioux Falls. I mean, not only is it a bigger city compared to Fargo, but there's also a lot more to do here than Fargo. And I think that Sioux Falls is also a nicer looking city than Fargo, North Dakota. Now, I will say Grand Forks, North Dakota is a beautiful city, but it's also a lot smaller. And when it comes to entertainment, there's not really a whole lot going on there. So I would say if I wanted to move to this region of the country, I definitely would look into Sioux Falls. I mean, and honestly, if I did move, I mean, like I said, I mean, I can kind of sort of picture myself living up here. I mean, honestly, come winter time, I definitely would disappear. I would disappear somewhere probably in Arizona or something where it's warm. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a nice city up here. It seems like a nice city. I mean, it seems like the type of city where I can kind of sort of picture myself living up here. I mean, I don't know. Or it might just remain one of those type of cities where around this time of the year I just come up here and I visit. Now when I come up here next year and I visit, I might partake in some of the venues that they have to offer up here. Alright folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Andrew's Life. feel free to drop a comment below, and if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you can, I would appreciate your help on making my channel grow. All you gotta do is give this video a thumbs up. Alright folks, y'all have a blessed one. I'll see you guys on the next one.